We've got a lot of stuff from the SEC to get to. I got to go to the Mocs National Signing Day conference, basically, which was open to the public, by the way. You could have showed up. There was quite a few people out there to support the football team. The entire coaching staff was there. I really enjoyed the presentation. And actually, I was just talking to Sam Jordan, who comes on before me, Sport Talk with Sam Jordan. I was just talking to him about this. I really like the presentation because all of the coaches, all the various coaches of all the different position groups were able to introduce the players that they recruited and explain why it is that they recruited those guys. And so, yeah, I took a lot of notes, and I have too many notes to talk about all of these guys, but I think that some of the players that did stand out to me, one was Chris James, who came from Hutchinson Community College, and that young man, 6'3", 215 pounds from Elijah, Georgia. Yeah, that guy can throw the ball. Okay, and I mean, when you look at him throw, I mean, he can put it downfield, he can put it towards the sidelines, and he's someone that's tremendous arm talent is what they said. And I think that's about right when you look at the guy and what he's able to do. A number of very talented wide receivers for this mock squad, right? They targeted a lot of things that they weren't necessarily great at last year. Wide receiver was an area of concern. Running back was another area of concern. And pass rush was huge for the Mocs. They had a rough first year under Tom Arth, but this is how you start to see the development of teams go, right? Like you get a coach in, and then he's got to get all his guys in there. And this is one of the important things. Like, this is an important time period in Tom Arth's run as UTC head coach, because this is him getting his guys in there. These are the guys. And I'm not going to lie, great group of guys. And on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, a lot of 3-star recruits and a lot of 2-star recruits, which is a big deal if you're an FCS school. It's a big deal. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, there's a lot of local Chattanooga talent here. You got Ty Beck, the linebacker, from right up the road from where we are at Soddy Daisy High School. That guy is incredible, right? He's instinctual. He's a hard hitter. He's quick. He's instinctive. And so, yeah, that's the no-brainer. If you're UTC, that guy's in your town, you go ahead and you grab that guy. I don't think you have a choice, right? They got Lamerick Tucker from Bradley Central in Cleveland, and I actually got to see Lamerick Tucker last year. I went to the Cleveland High School Soddy Daisy game. It was on a Thursday night, and I went, and I actually was on the sideline right there with the rest of the media, and Lamerick Tucker ran right in front of my face. And I cannot express to you how fast that guy is, especially when you see him in person, because you know how a lot of these high school videos go. You watch the guy, and they do a lot of impressive things because all of these athletes are very, very amazing. But you see the guy, and the footage is grainy and maybe not of the highest quality, especially when you're used to watching college football and pro football in HD. And so he looks fast, but when you see him in person, he's got that leave you speed, man. Like, it's mind-boggling. He caught a pass right in front of my face and took off, and no one was catching him. Good night. The Mocs add Lamerick Tucker to their roster. They go out there and they get a number of guys from some of these big-time powerhouse schools, right? They get, I believe they got Niven Nelson from Cartersville High School. They got Cole Hankey from Cartersville High School. Those are a couple of powerhouses. They went ahead and got, who else they got here? They got Isaiah Cobb from Maryville. Maryville is another powerhouse. I mean, it's a big time recruiting class for the Mocs, trying to turn around a football season last year that didn't go exactly the way that they wanted it to go, which is fine. Year ones are for learning and are for growth and for figuring out what does a certain group of guys do, like what do they do in your scheme? And how do they do in your scheme? Kyron Smith is another one that I'm really interested in, defensive back, 5'9", 175 from Cedar Hill, Texas. He went to Trinity High School. Now, Cedar Hill is just outside of Dallas. I used to live in Texas, okay? Now, everybody in Texas knows about Trinity High School, or you should, because when you're talking about championship contenders, it's them all the time. It's constantly them. So I'm really impressed with the class that the Mocs put together here for this, and I'm really looking forward to what these guys are going to be able to do, especially some of these running backs. And the reason why I think that the running backs are the most impressive of the bunch, because all of these guys are very impressive. I think they did a really good job of finding talented, high character guys. Every one of these guys is like a classroom warrior, right? I was not this good at school when I was in high school, so I will just leave that there. But the running backs, I think, are very impressive because they're all enormous, right? Like when you look at the stat, the height and weight of some of these backs, reminds me of Alabama a little bit, right? Like you got Isaiah Cobb, who's 6 foot, 200 pounds. He's the guy from Maryville, that powerhouse, right? Maryville, Tennessee. Maryville High School produces football players at a rate, their factory. Josiah Futrell, 6 foot, 200. And then the other running back that they got, Tyrell Price, which I think Tyrell Price might be my favorite player in this bunch of guys. Tyrell Price is 6 feet, 220 pounds, and runs like the guy that's 180, right? He's incredibly fast, and he's 6 foot, 220. And this is a guy that was able to lead his team in all-purpose yardage. He had something along the lines of 1,100 all-purpose yards, 950 of which were on the ground. He's able to play in space. He's able to run between the tackles. And here's something. The Mocs were able to get Tyrell Price to commit to them, and then they had to fend off West Virginia, right? And I don't know if you've watched West Virginia play football. My guy Dana Holgerson over there in West Virginia, Tyrell Price is exactly what they look for in a player. He's precisely what you want. When you talk about the size and the speed, and they play an air raid offense and they're fast, and the Mocs were able to hold off West Virginia and get Tyrell Price to commit. That's huge to me. That's big time. Now, that's part of it, right? The other part of this for me is when you get to the FBS level of National Signing Day. That's where you get it to be kind of wild. Now, I think what the Mocs did here, they actually defended a number of players from a number of schools. I have it in my notes here. There was a player that they had to defend from the University of Washington, Terrell Price. I also mentioned they had to defend from West Virginia. Josh Walker played at IMG Academy in Florida. IMG Academy is another one of those factories. So, of course, you're holding off all kinds of teams there, right? Kyron Smith is a guy who got offers from Louisiana Monroe and Army and Navy, and they had to defend off all of those schools, right? All of them. And they managed to do so and bring in an amazing recruiting class that's going to bear fruit, not just next season, right? Because some of these guys are going to play right away. Certainly, the running backs are all physically capable of playing immediately. And a number of defensive backs in this recruiting class, I suspect, can go pretty soon as well as Gabe Boring, who is going to be punting, and Thomas Brooks, who's also going to be, doing some of the kicking and punting responsibilities. And by the way, both of those guys were nominees for the Tennessee Titans Kicker of the Year award, which Gabe Boring won. So this is going to be something that both those guys are going to compete and probably end up contributing to the Mocs football, I would expect, right away. Where it gets to be interesting, I think, for National Signing Day is when you enter the FBS level, because I think that it's a little bit more dramatic. I know you heard from Sam Jordan earlier that Georgia was able to flip a recruit from Alabama to Georgia. They did it again. So with Michigan, Georgia with the #1 recruiting class in the nation, ending Alabama's 7-year run. What's interesting, though, is Alabama didn't do very well. Alabama finished 17th. Right. I thought Alabama was going to be a top 5 class. No, Alabama. Now, granted, Alabama's already stacked talent-wise. So it's going to be negligible for them. They're not going to miss, I don't think, the quote-unquote lack of talent. They're not starving, okay? But I was keeping an eye out for what Tennessee was going to do. Jeremy Pruitt, Tennessee, they finished 20th. Now, some people rang the alarms. Some people overreacted. Oh no, the Vols, they only finished 20th. But hear me out here. This is Jeremy Pruitt's first year. And when he got hired, I mean, the recruiting cycle was well underway. And we talk about Georgia finishing #1 in the nation in recruiting because Kirby Smart is some kind of genius. But what we don't mention in this, by the way, is that they had that early National Signing Day. And a lot of the damage is done by that early National Signing Day. A lot of the guys you're going to get already committed. So this is to try and get that sort of last third, maybe last fourth of your recruiting class together. You're not trying to get everybody today. You should have had most of the people that you want. And Jeremy Pruitt did that. He already did most of his damage from that early National Signing Day. Was not able to get and hold on to some of these guys that were maybe uncommitted to schools or maybe were on the fence, right? They lost some of those guys. And I think that's not good, but that's not the worst thing that ever happened, right? And finishing 20th, to put this in perspective, Butch Jones, who we can all acknowledge despite his coaching foibles, is one hell of a recruiter. Butch Jones finished 25th his first season, and he had more time, right? Finishing 25th, finishing in that 20th group in your first year is not bad at all. It's not bad at all. And it's not like Tennessee's, again, devoid of talent. They're going to have a number of guys that can come in and contribute almost immediately, which we're asking of our high school guys more and more all the time. We're asking more and more all the time that guys come from high school and begin to contribute as soon as they possibly can, right? We saw in the national title game, Jake Fromm contributing for Georgia all season long as a true freshman. So I think that Tennessee did pretty well, right? As what could be expected. Right? I think that that's fine. What they've done. I really, really, really enjoy watching what they've done here. I'm excited for the Jeremy Pruitt era, which I said yesterday because they announced a lot of the spring games for a lot of these major universities. And the Jeremy Pruitt era, that's one of the storylines I'm most excited about. This is a team that's going to play a whole lot of defense. This is a team that's going to, I think, exceed a lot of expectations in the SEC East. And I know Georgia's got this thing pretty much locked down. But I'm expecting a lot from Tennessee, and I'm expecting a lot from Florida as well. You're listening to All New Nooga Radio, NoogaRadio.com. You're on 92.7 FM. Jacob Copeland. I don't know if you saw this. This went viral. This was all over the internet. I can't believe I said that, by the way. I don't know if I've ever described something as going viral. But it did go viral. It was all over the internet today. Florida signee Jacob Copeland was at his National Signing Day ceremony, and he had 3 hats on the table, right? He had Tennessee, he had Alabama, he had Florida. And Jacob Copeland chose Florida. And his mom got up and walked out. Right. I don't know how embarrassing that could possibly be, how she could have made that any more embarrassing for him. But she did. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was supposed to be this great day for him. He's choosing where he's going to go to college. And I don't know how shocked she was that he picked Florida. It was one of the hats on the table. My man chose Florida, and his mom got up and walked out, like stormed out in front of the camera. She got up from behind the table and walked around the table and in front of the camera. Didn't care. And she was wearing a Tennessee hat and an Alabama sweatshirt, which to me signifies anybody but Florida. Like, she really wanted anybody but Florida. Like, and I don't think he was embarrassed. Because he said on Twitter later, what my mama did today was hilarious. If you knew her personally, that's her job, put on a show. But man, it got awkward. I mean, if you find that video online and watch it, it got really awkward because there's nothing quite like doing the exact opposite of what it is that your mom wants you to do in your life. And when your mom shows up to your signing day ceremony and she's wearing a Tennessee hat and she's wearing an Alabama sweater, and on your table, you can choose Alabama, Tennessee, or Florida, and you choose Florida, you chose the opposite of what it is that your mama wanted for you in life. And I don't think she was putting on a show. I think that woman was legitimately upset. You're listening to all new Nooga Radio, NoogaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. We're coming around to NBA All-Star Weekend. We've got all the storylines in the NBA. My brother, Keon Rose, long hiatus. He'll call and he'll break it down for us. Next.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM. 3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
An Udawa man is accused of calling 911, reporting a fire just to get the fire department to help his cat. When first responders arrived on the scene, there was no fire. According to an arrest report, Trevor Lane called 911, said his house was on fire, so first responders would rescue his cat out of a tree. The call has landed him behind bars. A Michigan fugitive threatened a shootout in Dayton. It began with a shots fired call near Memorial Avenue. Officers found James Orcutt at the Scottish Inn on Highway 27. Over the phone, he told them he would not go back to jail without a shootout. But after surrounding the motel and blocking traffic, he was apprehended without incident. Orcutt was wanted in Michigan for a parole violation. The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays from 3 to 6 on Nooga Radio. Al St. John, Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, News Now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Buzz and Val, weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
Oh man, rush. I've got to get stuff for the party. Where can I go? It's going to give me a wide selection of beer, wines, and spirits. Oh, I've got it. I'll go to Harry's Wine and Spirits, Signal Mountain. Maybe East Brainerd Wine and Spirits in East Brainerd. I could go to Riley's Wines and Spirits in Hickson. Wow, look at the huge selection in here. Look at these great prices. Amazing. Oh yeah, I'm going to find something for my lady too. I'm going to make this party a success.
Make your party a success when you stop in at Harry's Wine and Spirits in Signal Mountain, East Brainerd Wine and Spirits in East Brainerd, and Riley's Wine and Spirits in Hickson. An automated nuclear missile defense system has suddenly entered into launch mode, and you are the only one who can stop it.
Escape Experience Chattanooga.
Your team has just been infected with a deadly virus. Your only hope, there, an abandoned farmhouse.
Escape Experience Chattanooga.
Handcuffed in a maximum security prison, you have an hour to flee.
Escape Experience Chattanooga.
These escape scenarios and more at Chattanooga's best escape room, game, and team building platform. Call now. Slots are limited. Register online at escapeexperience.com/Chattanooga. Escape Experience Chattanooga.
If your computer is running slow, if you have viruses, if someone called you asking to get into your computer, just say no. If a screen pops up on your computer saying your data is going to be deleted and you have to call this number, don't call it. You need to call Affordable Computers. You wouldn't invite a stranger to come into your house to look at all your books and records. So why would you invite someone to look at your records on your computer? With one wrong click of the mouse, you could be allowing access into your entire system. At Affordable Computers, we can stop them now. Don't be fooled by scammers and pop-ups that tell you you must call this number or your hard drive is going to be deleted. You need to call Affordable Computers. Call Affordable Computers now. Microsoft is never going to call you. Microsoft is never going to ask you to call them. If you see that on your screen, you are being scammed. Stop and call Affordable Computers. 423-499-1975. That's 423-499-1975. In Fort Oglethorpe, call 706-858-5888. That's 706-858-5888. Affordable Computers.
95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM.
Expect fair to partly cloudy skies continue through your nighttime. Cold overnight, lows mid and upper 20s. Now for your Wednesday, look for some sunshine with a breeze out of the north, though. Like cold highs up around 40 with more mainly dry and cold weather expected through Friday. Celebrate the new year with Dixieland Fireworks, locally owned with the largest selection around. A Black Cat dealer with the lowest prices in Dixie. Dixieland Fireworks, just off I-75 on Ringgold Road, East Ridge. And I'm George Noory, Chief Meteorologist at your core.
Broadcasting live to over 1 million souls in Chattanooga, the Tennessee Valley, and beyond on frequency modulation 92.7. Sean Hannity, 25,000 watts on digital FM 95.3 HD4. CBS Radio News, NASCAR, Bloomberg Markets, David Tulis, streaming strong at Noogaradio.com. Live on YouTube and Facebook. Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7. Chattanooga Radio.
You're listening to all new Nooga Radio, Noogaradio.com here on 92.7 FM. Clutch with Keon Rose. Thank you for joining me today, making me just a small part of your day. You know that I appreciate each and every one of you. We discussed college football and National Signing Day, and we'll still be talking about the fallout from that for the next few days. But joining me on the phone is my brother to help me break down the doings and happenings of the NBA. We're coming up on NBA All-Star Weekend, and we have a bunch of storylines happening in that league, which, by the way, the NBA effectively managed to invade Super Bowl week last week with some of these stories. So now that we've got the post-Super Bowl hangover out of the way, Colin Rose is my brother, and he's also a writer, basketball aficionado. Colin, how you doing?
I'm good. Long time. I feel like the Keon Rose banished me for some of the inflammatory things I've said over the past few months. I don't understand. What's the call?
Look, I'm not saying you were banished. That's not the words that I would use. You were just given a break.
I was given a break? What is this? You will give a break. I just noticed the calls didn't come in, and there was basketball news happening. You went to this fellow, and you had your own take. You did your own research, and suddenly, what happened to your basketball? I don't have any. But that doesn't matter. The station is a functionally. I would say it's just the station. Continue.
Well, what happened was I've waded probably more deeply in the football waters than I ever have before. So I haven't covered a lot of basketball. But look, there's nothing else left. So here we are.
Don't say it like that. Basketball is America's next great sport. We do these things in basketball. We don't brutalize our players and make their quality of life near zero when they turn 42.
This is true.
Keep talking spicy. Keep saying football is the next whatever. But I just want you to know, in like 10 years, every game will be basketball all the time, and no one else will forget about the silly little game where people try to murder each other at like 22 miles an hour every 45 seconds.
Well, I mean, look, you got a good point there. You got a good point there, only in as much as people under 30 are not watching football anywhere near as much as they used to. So we'll see what happens. I'll let you know. So you've got 3 points for us, and then maybe a possible overtime period. What's the first thing you want to talk about here?
First thing we're talking about today is we're having a little requiem for the left knee of the young god, Brazilian god, Kristaps Porzingis. We're having a little requiem for him. We're also praying specifically. Well, we're not praying. We're thinking about Marcus Cousins' Achilles tendon. A couple of smattering. You got John Wall banged up. You got this and that throughout the NBA. Lonzo Ball, if you care about Lonzo Ball, is also knocked up. So, we're kind of doing like an injury report / then wouldn't it be nice kind of thing.
This is true, and you say not praying for, but I actually am praying for John Wall. That's just me, though. It's just me.
All right, yeah.
I'm a Wizards fan. This is what you put me in this spot, okay? Technically, the universe put me in this spot, but you get what I'm saying.
Okay, we're going to skip right past all of that, and we're going to jump right in to the business, the meat of it. Okay, the Marcus Cousins, while not would you describe Marcus Cousins as a top 10 player?
Yes.
I don't think Marcus Cousins is a top 10 player.
I would, just because when you talk about what you ask big men to do in the league,
people better than Marcus Cousins. Go ahead. Though.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I think you could, but also I think you would have a legitimate argument too. It wouldn't just. I don't think you could easily name 10 guys, and the 10 guys would be so obviously better than him that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so I would say
he had in today's modern NBA, being able to bully and play a little bit outside and handle the ball a little bit. It was rare. He was playing alongside another big who had the exact skill set that he had, and they were just figuring something out. Now, the reason DeMarcus Cousins, while I still argue not the top 10 player, but maybe the single most important NBA player this season, had he remained healthy, is that he was the most tradable asset in the entire league. He is on an expiring contract, which means the Pelicans can't move him. The Cavs wanted to look at him. The Celtics were looking at him. Any team that had some pieces to move, I'm sure the Clippers were looking at him during that whole Blake situation. They might, maybe we want DeMarcus Cousins instead of what we got from Detroit or whatever. And the Pelicans were not shopping him, but were listening to offers. So DeMarcus Cousins was a single most, because if he moves to any of these places, suddenly the entire title landscape shifts a little bit there, a little bit here. And it's not just that some other team got DeMarcus Cousins, not like that his Cavs got them, it's that the Rockets didn't. Okay, so it's the same impact. But now nobody has DeMarcus Cousins because he lacks an entire tendon.
Well, that's wow. Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, the thing is, we treat guys that are top 10 guys that are obviously top 10 guys because let me just say I'll ride with you that DeMarcus Cousins is not. He's still a high enough value to shift the landscape of power in the entire league.
Yeah, he was the highest. Okay, it was him and Blake Griffin. Now Blake Griffin, I didn't even know was up there because what they did to Blake Griffin was kind of monstrous if you think about it.
Oh, it was dirty. It was absolutely dirty.
Re-signed that that 5-year, $200 million contract. They played this video in which they made this huge ceremony. I don't know if you guys read the Zach Lowe piece. This huge ceremony where he was walking into like the hall, to the locker room, out onto the court, and there were videos playing of his greatest moments, and it was slowly building from the past to the present and into the future. And in the future, he walks out into Staples Center, looks up at the rafters, and it descends from the heaven. Number 32 in white, Blake Griffin. Potentially retired jersey. Basically, what they pitched him to recite as a Clipper is you to be the greatest Clipper of all time. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot. Basically, just over scoring. He's also scoring record for the Clippers. And to be honest with you, he basically passed Chris Paul, who played for another team. The only thing that happened there, Chris Paul was the lead, and then Blake Griffin overtook him, like just recently. That was like the greatest Clipper
Right.
So what can you say? I mean, there's no greatest Clipper of all time. I mean, I challenge you to even think of one out there to say Elton Brand's reliability.
The two greatest Clippers of all time are also not Clippers, which sounds about right when we're talking about the Clippers,
right? The Clippers immediately just turned back into the thing they exactly were like, say, 5 minutes ago. We were all like, they're the number one in LA now. They're pushing the Lakers.
There it is.
And they kept being consistently the most interesting, mediocre team of all time. Like they get 56 wins, get into the playoffs, and then just implode. And that was the story of the Clippers.
You would think that there would be more progress there for that team. Now, the only thing that with the Clippers is Jerry West is running the show, and
right.
I trust Jerry West with anything. Jerry West should be a basketball deity.
He should, and also he got a lot back. Okay, he didn't look like a lot that he got from Blake Griffin, but he got value. It's really hard to trade stars in this market. The thing is, there's just not money. There's not money to pay everybody, and if you take 35% of your cap hold and say here to one person, that means you have 65% to work with to build a functional team, and you need to go 70 to be a good playoff team. You don't have 70 money anymore. Like, it's just a weird thing that you kind of have to either get multiple stars and slightly underpay them, or more likely, you pay the tax, the tax when you go over your certain, whatever the cap is. You go over that cap, you repeat your cap, which you pay double your bill. And the Warriors are in like ridiculous place right now. They're paying, I don't even know. They're looking at some outlandish $400 million payroll check they're going to have to write in a couple of years. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, yeah. And with the Warriors, though, I mean, you've got a title team. You've got a team that's capable of winning a title basically every year now, so it's worth the money. But let's move on to your second point. Clutch with Keon Rose here on 92.7 FM. My brother Kerwin, writer, basketball aficionado. We're transitioning back into a basketball world. And Kerwin's helping me out here figure out some of these storylines that I have not been paying attention to as I have been covering football for several months. Kerwin, point number 2.
Point number 2, we cannibalized it. The Blake Griffin point already kind of happened. So point number 2 is going to shift into a slightly less interesting conversation. And the point number 3 will be the big finale. We'll do this real quickly. Keon, we need to find somebody to replace Porzingis in the All-Star game. And here are your choices. You could have Blake Griffin. You could have my pick, who could be Ben Simmons. Or you could have, I think John Wall is eligible, but he can't play because he's injured.
Well, John Wall is one of the open spots that opened for people because he did make the team already.
True. Which is, again, it's a massive disappointment because people sort of falling into the All-Star game because someone got injured. It would be a very okay-ish All-Star game. But, yeah, so let me say, who else is on the borderline?
I'm not sure because of all the injuries. I'm actually no longer certain. I was really looking forward to Wall and Beal together, but this is my life.
That would have been nice. Is Beal in the All-Star game?
He is. He is. He's averaging 25 a game. The coaches voted him in.
Why can't I think of a third person who's eligible and should probably be in there? Kemba? No, Kemba's terrible. I mean, he's not terrible.
He's not terrible. He's not an all-star.
NBA player.
Not an all-star.
He's not an all-star. That's the mistake.
So what are my options?
40% last season, but I was like, well, Kemba, what do you do? I guess my thing is that I take that over whoever else is eligible. That was terrible way to get it. That was a mistake. I stopped having to think mid-sentence anyway.
Yeah, no. That's our most Dan Le Batard moment that just happened right there. Like, we just in an impromptu poll. Point number 3.
Point number 3, and the best point of all. This is the one that everyone's waiting for. People's attention is high. My pitch to the people is that you want LeBron, but also you really don't want LeBron.
Yeah.
And here's why. And I can give it to you very simply. He hurts both your off-the-court function of your team and the on-court function of your team. And by that I mean, off the court, he's in the sense that he's figured out the game's power. And there are a lot of players who figured that out. Chris Paul figured it out, and he forced the trade. He forced Clippers management to do stuff and to go after people. And Doc Rivers went after people that necessarily spread the lead, but the lead, that kind of They weren't sure if he was going to resign. Then he resigned, and he wasn't that happy at the trade. And then you got basically people all around the NBA flexing that power, figuring out that they have power. And the ringleader, person to look at is LeBron James. And you watch the just absolute horrendous nightmare, the psychological trauma of this very old Cavs team that is getting hammered every day by LeBron's storylines and things that LeBron's people leak out there, and LeBron's passive-aggressive comments to the media and on Instagram, and just holding the whole team hostage. The other part is, when you play with LeBron James is your offense. Which is to say that if there's a dribble handoff, it's LeBron James decided it, and not because it was designed and you watch so quick. He's too smart, and he's too good at basketball, and when he leaves the floor, the efficiency just falls into a volcano and is consumed entirely, no matter at all.
That is the most verbose explanation. I like how you started that with, I'm going to say that simply, followed by you immediately not saying anything simply about LeBron James, but I do see your point.
I talk in blocks. Look, LeBron James is the greatest basketball player in the last 10 years. The greatest basketball player is the greatest basketball player. That's just how it is. Okay, we're all aware of that.
Yeah, no one's saying that you wouldn't want LeBron.
He's following up MJ. He's the heir apparent. But also, it's terrible to play with LeBron James, and the LeBron, for any reason, isn't giving you the full LeBron experience. A little bit of bad and a lot of good, but bad really melts. It builds up. I asked the Heat in that last year when LeBron was just throw shade in their sports for no reason on a Tuesday, and just the entire week, all of the sports would descend upon Miami and just pick at the Heat and nitpick at Chris Bosh and nitpick at Dwayne Wade, and no one after this LeBron just go out and try hard and then go eat the food after. What are we doing?
Look, and that's the thing with having that guy is he's the greatest player in the league right now when he plays at his full force, right? But he gives you so many other little headaches, and also, yeah, having LeBron is bad for a number of reasons. But I'll also argue that because you have to consider LeBron James's age as well, that LeBron James, you have to also think about life after LeBron, and you know that life after LeBron is going to be hell for you, no matter who you are, right? Like, that's just what it is with him as well.
It's just crazy because he did like David Blatt, and he made them install Ty Lue. He's kind of soured on Ty Lue, and Ty Lue, for whoever was coaching a team with a winning record that has LeBron James on it, is on the hot seat. They might fire Ty Lue for LeBron. And this is the thing the people don't seem to understand is that he's planned it. It's not just that he's good at manipulating stuff. It's that he's meticulously planning it too. He signs 1-year contracts with no trade clauses in it, and they're for the max. And so he's still making his money, but you don't have any say. So you can't sign him to 4 years and be like, well, what are you going to do? You're here for 4 years. You can't just give up and leave. If you don't show up to games, we don't pay you. So you're going to throw away your prime. We don't think so. So LeBron doesn't trust Cleveland, and he will not sign a long-term deal with Cleveland.
No, and LeBron James said he's going to sign for the max wherever and whenever he signs, right? In this Machiavellian way that he's done this. You have to give it to him.
Yeah, you have to give it to him. He's LeBron James. And the last contract would be for the back end. It's going to carry him well past his prime. He's going to get paid well past his prime. And the money will be gross, and he will be bad by the end of that contract. But if you get 2 years of just past his prime LeBron, and all you have to do is say, I'm going to pay $90 million over the course of 3 years. After that, a lot of teams, I would say 80% of the teams in the league would take it. And then probably 20% are either too poor to pay it, the small market teams, or already have superstar caliber they can rival LeBron's talent. That's Houston and Golden State. That's it. Everybody else needs $90 million to have LeBron James come and be bad on their basketball team.
Basically, yeah. So we've got a couple of minutes left, and I have a bonus question for you.
Okay.
So this is a Wizard question. This is a completely self-interested question. The Washington Wizards, we're coming up on the trade deadline. The Washington Wizards have, at this point, a very strong desire to have DeAndre Jordan. I think that this is a bad idea. and it's very short-sighted. But Ernie Grunfeld is our GM. Should the Wizards trade for DeAndre Jordan? Because it would mean that we'd have to give up Kelly Oubre and Marcin Gortat. Gortat, I'm not so worried about. Oubre, I want him.
Okay, here's the thing. What DeAndre Jordan does for you is he gives you a young, athletic, and he gives you everything Marcin Gortat gives you, plus an interior defense that can actually be stalwart. If you're worried, he'll take you from, I don't know what the Wizards are now, I'm assuming they're in the 12 to 16 range on defense. He'll turn that team with those athletes on the wing into a 1 through 5 defense. Because he's back there and he's deterring a lot. He's rebounding heavy. He does all of those things well. He enough to be kind of worth it. Now, if all you have to give up for him is Kelly Oubre a pick, and you get rid of the Marcin Gortat contract, I don't know that I necessarily. Basically, if you traded Kelly Oubre for DeAndre Jordan, and maybe a potentially good player, but you're assuming that you'd be very good at basketball by that point. Well, it might be the second round pick because there's just no market for DeAndre Jordan because he will opt into his contract, which is the other thing, which means all of this money will disappear. And here's the thing: the big thing is this: how much are you willing to pay Kelly Oubre? How much are you willing to pay to keep him?
Well, it depends on what teams will pay for him because the Wizards would get to match, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, I would be willing to pay a lot for Kelly Oubre. Because the Gortat contract, not a lot. I'm trying to.
Is what it is. You're paying $100 million to John Wall. Is it $100 million?
No, John Wall's getting paid less than Porter and Beal. Because the cap is lower.
170.
Yeah, I think over the next 4 or 5, I want to say.
Yeah, 170. Beal is 128. Porter is 100. If you pay Oubre in the $80 million range, what you're saying is these 4 players are players for the next 4 years.
Which, okay,
it might turn into something really transcendently special, but he also cap out at who's a pretty good 3-and-D guy, Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton might be worth that money.
Maybe
might be worth that money.
Maybe, but I just think if you get
Middleton, come on now.
If you get well, we've got 20 seconds left, so I'm going to try and make this point quick. But I'm just saying, if you get DeAndre Jordan for a 1-year rental, I'd rather keep Oubre at that point. There's no guarantee that we keep him.
You get bird rights for DeAndre. I don't understand. This is a good thing.
What is bird rights? Carry through?
Did we end the show talking about bird rights?
We did end the show, yes.
We've never done a work show.
I think we've never done a better show. I love getting granular in basketball. Look, it's 9 at night. Only hardcore fans are listening to this. You're listening to Clutch with Keon Rose on all new Nooga Radio, NoogaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, folks, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Stay clutch, and I'll see you in 24 hours.
Chelly went 4 wide on the match straightaway. They're side by side for the lead.
Here at live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM, 95.3 HD4.
The voice of NASCAR.
3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news. Now,
a pilot flying J trial heads to the jury today. Judge Curtis Collier told jurors that they will have plenty of time to deliberate. The court is not due to be back in session Thursday or Friday, so they'll have to return on Monday to continue talks if they don't reach a verdict today. Live lines were down and a fire raged on Mowbray Mountain. Fire department firefighters had a hard time getting to the actual building because the mud bogged down the driveway. They also had to tank in water because water pressure was too low. EPB shut down power for the area because of live lines causing a major hazard and the fire. 80% of the building up in smoke. Hydraulic oil spilled into the Hiwassee River, and one Bradley County company, the Smoky Mountain Transfer Corporation, was ordered shut down by TDAC back at the end of December. Nearly the same exact thing happened. 10 gallons of fuel spilled into the water. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
Chattanooga Morning News with London Bow, weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
Clouds will slowly decrease through your nighttime. Colder overnight, lows into the upper 20s. For Thursday, a nice day with lots of sunshine. Highs into the lower 50s. Tomorrow night, lows to your 30. More sunshine, even better Friday. Warmer as well with highs of around 60. This forecast is brought to you by Hamilton Medical Center in Dalton. Trust your heart to the hospital that is top 10% in the nation for heart attack treatment. That's Hamilton Medical Center in Dalton. And I'm Sorgene 12, Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Gold, 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 and more gold. And always buy American. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, you'll always get better rates than the banks. We'll convert your silver, diamonds, cash into gold, gold, gold. Precious American gold. Certified by the federal government. Buy an American. Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. $499.91. 62. Call